Hola clase. So in today's video, we're going to be going over 4 verbs that are irregular in the preterite. So remember, we use the preterite to talk about actions that happened in the past. So the 4 verbs we're going to be going over are tener, estar, poder, and hacer. So remember, tener means to have, estar means to be, poder means to be able to, and hacer means to do or to make. So when conjugating these 4 verbs, their stem is going to change in the preterite, and we are also going to use different endings. So if you recall in the previous unit, when we had regular verbs, we use like for an AR verb, we used the endings aste, o, amos, astes, aron. If it were an ER/IR verb, we had iste, yo, imos, istes, dieron, and then the yo form and the ella form of the verb had accents. With these 4 verbs, we are going to be using these endings: iste, o, imos, istes, dieron, and no accents. So do not place an accent on the do not place an accent on the o. So for tener, we're going to actually change the stem, and it's going to be tuv. So if you were to conjugate it, it would be tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvisteis, tuvieron, and you'll see it in a moment. For estar, you're going to keep the stem is tuv, and then you're going to add those endings. For poder, you are going to use the stem pud, then you're going to attach those endings. And then for hacer, we're going to keep is as a stem, and then we're going to add these endings as well. So for tener, if we were conjugating in the preterite, like I had to study, I had to do homework, it's going to be tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvisteis, tuvieron. So if it were a regular verb, you would say like tení, right? Teniste, tenió, but it's not a regular verb. I do not want to see that on a test. You have to change the stem to tuv, and then you're going to add these endings. It's an irregular verb, kind of like in English. You don't say I buy, right? We say I bought. I don't say I steal. We say I stole. Or I don't say I go to the movies. We say I went. So in English, you have irregular verbs. In Spanish, you also have irregular verbs. So estar, we're going to keep the stem estuve, and then we're going to add the ending. So it's estuve, estuviste, estuvo, estuvimos, estuvisteis, estuvieron, and no accents, right? So for poder, what are you going to do? You're going to keep the stem pud, right? And then you're going to conjugate the verb. So pude, pudiste, pudo, pudimos, pudisteis, pudieron. And for a said, similar, we're going to keep the stem is, and then we're going to add these endings. So it's going to be ise, hiciste. However, as you can see, the C has become a Z. The reason why we do this change only for us said, that's why it has an asterisk, is because if we kept a C, it would sound like equal. So we want to keep the same sound. So we're changing the C to a Z. So that's why it's ise, hiciste, hizo, hicimos, hicisteis, hicieron. All right. So now let's practice them in context. So reading the sentence. How would you conjugate the verb estar? Based on this context, yo con mis amigos en el partido de fútbol estuve, right? So I was at the game with my friends, so estuve. So here, el profesor murió, right? And then he was able to lift 405 pounds. So el profesor murió pudo levantar 405 libras. He was able to. Pudo. Elena, ¿qué hacer? So asking Elena, ¿qué tuviste que hacer? What did you have to do? And then, what is Elena's response to that question? Que escribir un informe, like I had to write a report. Tuve, right? So for tener, we're keeping the stem tuv, and we're adding the appropriate endings. So Mauricio la cama antes de ir a la escuela. So he made the bed before going to school. How would you conjugate it? hizo, right? We change the C to a Z because if not, it would sound like hico. Even though regardless of how many times I say it, some students will still put a C in there on their test. So please do not put a C, it's a Z. Nosotros no sacar fotos en el museo. So this is the verb poder, like we were not able to take pictures in the museum. What would it be? Pudimos. The verb is poder, you keep the stem pud, right? Ayer mi clase en la sala de computación. So how would you conjugate it? So like yesterday, my class was in the computer lab. So estuvo. And here, los estudiantes un experimento en su clase. How would you conjugate it? Hicieron, right? So students made an experiment in their class. Okay, chicos, so that was it for today. So remember, you have 4 irregular verbs that you need to know how to conjugate. Hacer, tener, estar, and poder. And they do not have accents. Hasta luego.